Hello and welcome back to Bookish Brits. My name is Michelle and I'm here today to talk to you about some of my childhood favourites. Now this video came about as I was going through some of Bookish Brits' previous videos and I remembered Julianne did a great one of some of her childhood favourites and I thought today that I would share with you some of my childhood favourites because I feel really nostalgic about it lately, and it's just really nice to return to some old favourites and remember what about them made you fall in love so much. So here we are, some of my childhood favourites. One of my favourite books as a child has to have been Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. This is my really battered and well-loved copy. And I always had this book in my hand. It went with me everywhere. My brother ripped the front cover off. It's such a wonderful story, and I still love it. I did recently reread it, and I fell in love all over again with this story and these characters. I loved Wilbur and Charlotte and Templeton and absolutely everyone. Now I'm going to show you this next book, but it is actually a stand-in for a different series, and that's The Babysitter's Little Sister. I have 5 or 6 of these copies about, you know, the little sister. I think it's Kirsty's little sister who's the main person in charge of the Babysitters Club, and I loved the Babysitters Club. I liked these ones as well, but I think I was just slightly too old for them when they came out, but for some reason these books are the ones that have been kept in my collection as opposed to the actual Babysitters Club, and for that I'm really disappointed because the Babysitters Club played such a huge part in my childhood. Another series that I enjoyed as a child, though don't have any strong recollections as an adult, are the Little House on the Prairie series. I have the entire series, and these books, honestly, I had no respect as a child for any of my books, it seems. But I remember loving these books, but it was only when I sat down to film this video that I thought, actually, you know, what are some of the things that happen in these books? I think I remember sort of bits here and there from different books. I remember there was something about a pig skin that they were playing about with in one of the books, but I don't really remember. Now, one book that I remember reading again and again and again and again as a small child was The Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott O'Dell. I don't know what it is about this book, but I think maybe it's the main character Karina's like strength and independence that really spoke to me as a child, but something about it just I connected with on a very strong emotional level. Another book that I couldn't make this video without mentioning is Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. I love this book so much. Look at it. Look at how many times I must have read this book. It's battered up and bruised. But it's fantastic. I love Anne Shirley. I wanted to be Anne Shirley growing up. In some ways I kind of still want to be her. I love her passion and enthusiasm, her imagination, and the way she sort of stood up for who she was. She's just that little bit different, isn't she? And I love that she ended up finding a family. Now this next book isn't the book that I've had since childhood. I've had to go out and find another copy of it. But that's The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I really do think that this is one of the first books that made me sob like a baby and just have the most extreme emotional reaction. It is just the first, and there's so much to love about this book. I think it's now timeless in the things that it brings up about friendship in particular. I just, oh. The final book that I want to talk to you about today is, it goes back a little bit more in time, like throughout these books we've had, it was like 6 or 7 and around the same sort of age, and we've gotten kind of progressively older, with The Outsiders being one of the books that I read as sort of a pre-teenager. But I want to take you back to a book that I read, I can't even remember what age, but it couldn't have been any more than 6 or 7, and it is my favorite book of all time. It has to be the Boxcar Children by Gertrude Chandler Warner. I love this book. I love it so much. So the last 2 sentences of the book, and I'm going to read them out to you, is, "We'll all live happily ever after." And so they did, and as much as I loved the words of that to that end, like as much as I loved reading the words of their happily ever after, for me this illustration right here of this boxcar surrounded by these flowers and everything, it's in a back garden of somebody who really cares for the Alden children. For me, you know, this illustration says happily ever after more than any words ever could. So before I start to cry, because I am feeling a little bit emotional speaking about the Boxcar Children, I'm going to leave that there. Those are some of my favorite books. As a child, I loved every one of these. I'd love to hear if you guys have any of the same books on your favorite childhood list, or what were some of yours? Do let me know in comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.